Today, we are taking a tour of my writing desk. Spoiler alert, it's not a desk, it's a bed. I know people usually say things like, don't work in bed, you'll never sleep at night, or you'll get too tired during the day, which is kind of true, but I just, sneak a nap in when I need to. But I have written 5.5 novels, I'm working on my 6th, and 90% of them have been written from bed. I tried writing at desks or in the library or on the floor or at coffee shops, but nothing has ever worked for me as much as just writing from bed. Don't know what that says about me, but here we go. Am I saying you should all write from bed? Yes. But if you know you'll have trouble sleeping at night, then maybe get a desk. So, what do I have in my writing bed? First, and most importantly, I have a corner bed with a corner pillow. So that's how to be comfy in bed. So you got your back support, your comfiness. Next, I have this quilt. I actually made this quilt. I think it was the summer after I graduated from high school. I went to my mom and I was like, I want to learn how to sew. And she was like, okay, let's make some pot holders. And I was like, no, I'm going to make a quilt. So my mom and I went around our house and gathered a bunch of old fabric scraps and old clothes. She designed sets for local theaters, so we had a lot of scraps to choose from. This is actually the fabric my mom used to make my laptop case, and this is an old skirt. So then we cut them into pretty chunky squares. Wasn't gonna get too crazy with the pattern or anything. And then we spent the summer making this quilt, and I had an absolute blast. And I learned that I'm terrible at sewing, and that the sewing machine is some kind of sentient monster with little stabby fingers that actually deserves the designation as worst home appliance. Printer has nothing on this. So anyway, this quilt is really my most prized possession. If the house was on fire and I could only grab one thing, I would grab this quilt. So naturally, I have it in my writing bed. Next, I always have a cup of coffee to keep me company. Okay, wait, don't look at that. Before I had a coaster, my water glass would condensate all over this shelf and it messed up the wood. But it's fine now, I have a coaster and I use this wrinkly bit for snacks. Okay, quick story. This is my favorite mug. I only have one. My brother used to work at a retirement home. And when the residents would no longer need their possessions, if their family didn't want them, then they would all end up in the trash. And so sometimes my brother would bring home cool stuff from the trash, like this mug. When he brought it home, we all really liked it. I mean, it's brown and it's square. I feel like if it was in the mug development idea session, it'd get laughed out of the room, but it works. But then my brother moved away and he wanted to take the good mug with him, since it was his favorite too. So we went online and we ordered a duplicate mug. But this mug is not right. I don't know if it's some nearly imperceptible difference in weight or texture or quality. I can tell the difference. Even when they're just sitting beside each other in the cabinet, I can tell. But luckily, my brother and everyone else thought I was crazy, so he offered to take this duplicate mug. This is his mug, and he let me have the original. He calls this the soul gem, since it came from someone in a nursing home. And we call this the soulless mug, because it's evil. Anyway, back to my writing bed. I always have a book off to the side, sometimes 2, or more. Usually I keep the one I'm reading, If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And then I often keep one that I love, that I can flip through to remind myself of what good writing looks like. And then sometimes I also keep a craft book here just for quick reference. And yes, I do sleep with them. There's room. There's also room for a buddy. Sometimes 2 buddies. Sometimes I have to chase down the buddy.
Do you want to come write with me?
And over my writing bed, I have posters. Mainly The Princess Bride, which has been my favorite movie pretty much my whole life. It's got literally everything you could need from a movie. A romance, an adventure, comedy. It's even a Christmas movie. If you also write from bed, let me know in the comments.